Welcome to English Pass podcast, brought to you from our local studio in Calgary. I'm your host, Samantha, and today we're diving into an exciting topic, buying groceries. Whether you're a beginner or intermediate learner, in this podcast, we're helping you level up your English listening and reading skills. And before we get started, let me tell you that the sponsor of this episode is TypeFit Learn to Type Faster. Now, let's talk about the weather in Calgary on Tuesday, January 20, 2026. It's currently 2 degrees Celsius, which is about 36 degrees Fahrenheit, with partly cloudy conditions. It's so cold this Tuesday that the sun is using the clouds as a blanket to stay warm. Today, we're exploring something really interesting, buying groceries. This is a fantastic subject for English learners because it covers a lot of practical vocabulary and real-world situations. So let's dive right in. Buying groceries is the essential process of selecting and purchasing food, beverages, and household supplies necessary for daily life. While it might seem like a simple errand, it is actually a complex activity that involves planning, budgeting, and making a series of decisions that impact our health and finances. At its most basic level, grocery shopping is how we stock our homes with the fuel we need to survive. But if we look closer, it is an art form that has changed significantly over the last century. Long ago, people did not walk through aisles with carts. Instead, they would walk up to a counter at a general store and hand a list to a clerk, who would then gather the items from high shelves or the back room. This changed in 1916 when the first self-service grocery store, Piggly Wiggly, opened in the United States. This innovation allowed customers to browse for themselves, and it forever changed how we interact with products. Today, when we talk about grocery shopping, we often refer to visiting a supermarket, a large retail store that offers a wide variety of food and household products organized into specific sections. One of the most important sections you will encounter is the produce department. The word produce refers specifically to fresh fruits and vegetables. When you walk into a store, the produce is often the first thing you see because the bright colors and fresh scents create a positive atmosphere. It is here that you might see a family planning their week. Perhaps a mother is teaching her child how to pick the perfect avocado by feeling its texture, or a student is comparing the prices of different types of apples to see which fits their budget. As you move deeper into the store, you will navigate through various aisles. An aisle is a long, narrow space between rows of shelves where products are displayed. Store managers are very clever about how they arrange these aisles. Have you ever noticed that essential items like milk, eggs, and bread are usually located at the very back of the store? This is a deliberate psychological tactic. By placing the most common items far away from the entrance, the store forces you to walk past hundreds of other products, hoping that you will see something else you want to buy along the way. This is a great example of how the environment of a grocery store is designed to influence our behavior. One common way people save money while shopping is by purchasing generic brands. Generic brands, also known as store brands, are products manufactured for a specific retailer and sold under that retailer's own label. They are usually placed right next to well-known name brands, but cost much less because the company does not spend money on expensive national advertising. Many people have the misconception that generic brands are lower in quality, but in many cases, the ingredients are exactly the same as the more expensive versions. A shopper might stand in the cereal aisle, looking at a famous brand of toasted oats and then at the store brand version. Realizing that for a $2 difference, the taste is virtually indistinguishable. Another important concept in grocery shopping is understanding perishables. Perishables are food items that have a limited shelf life and will spoil or decay quickly if not consumed or stored properly. This category includes meat, dairy, poultry, fish, and many fresh items in the produce section. Managing perishables is one of the hardest parts of grocery shopping because if you buy too much, you end up throwing money away when the food goes bad. Consider the example of a young professional who stops by the store on a Tuesday evening for a quick trip. They might only need a liter of milk and some fresh spinach for dinner. Because they are only buying for one night, they are focusing on high-quality perishables that they know they will use immediately, rather than stocking up on items that might wilt in the refrigerator. In contrast to the quick trip, some people prefer to buy in bulk. To buy in bulk means to purchase large quantities of a product at once, often at a lower price per unit. This is common at warehouse clubs, where you can find giant boxes of pasta or massive packs of paper towels. While this requires more money up front and more storage space at home, it can save a significant amount of money over several months. Imagine a large family of 6 people. For them, buying a single box of cereal every 2 days is inefficient. Instead, they go to a warehouse store once a month to buy 3-pound bags of cereal and 50-count packs of snacks. This method of shopping requires a large pantry, which is a small room or closet specifically used for storing non-perishable food like canned goods, flour, and sugar. When it comes to the actual selection of items, savvy shoppers often look at the unit price on the shelf tag. This is a small number that tells you how much the product costs per ounce or per gram. For example, you might see 2 jars of peanut butter. One jar looks bigger, but when you look at the unit price, you realize the smaller jar is actually cheaper because you are getting more actual product for every dollar spent. This is a crucial skill for intermediate learners to master because it allows you to see past deceptive packaging. Sometimes companies use larger boxes with less food inside to make a product look like a better deal than it truly is. As you finish your selection, you move toward the checkout. The checkout is the area of the store where you pay for your items. In the past, this always involved a human cashier who would scan each item one by one. However, many modern stores now feature self-checkout machines. These are kiosks where the customer scans their own items, bags their own groceries, and pays via a terminal. Some people find this more efficient, while others miss the social interaction of talking to a cashier. Regardless of the method, once the transaction is complete, you will receive a receipt. A receipt is a printed or digital document that lists every item you bought, the price of each, the total amount paid, and the date of the transaction. It is always a good idea to keep your receipt for a few days, just in case you realize a product you bought was spoiled or damaged. There are also interesting cultural differences in how people buy groceries around the world. In many parts of Europe and Asia, grocery shopping is a daily activity. People might walk to a local bakery for fresh bread in the morning and a small butcher shop for meat in the afternoon. In the United States and Canada, it is more common to do one large weekly shop at a massive supermarket, filling a large car with bags to last 7 days or more. Furthermore, we are seeing a huge rise in online grocery shopping. With this method, you use an app or a website to select your items, and a personal shopper gathers them for you. You can either pick them up at the curb or have them delivered directly to your front door. This has become a lifesaver for busy parents or people who have difficulty leaving their homes, though it does remove the ability to hand-select your own produce. Wait, we must also consider the environmental impact of our shopping habits. Many grocery stores are now encouraging customers to bring their own reusable bags instead of using thin plastic ones that end up in landfills. Some cities have even passed laws that charge a small fee for every paper or plastic bag used at the checkout. This shift in culture reflects a growing awareness of how our small daily choices, like what we buy and how we carry it home, affect the planet. A common misconception is that all food labeled organic is automatically healthier or better for you. While organic farming avoids certain synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, an organic cookie is still a cookie, full of sugar and fat. Understanding food labels and nutrition facts is a vital part of the grocery shopping experience. It allows you to see how much sodium, sugar, and fiber is in the food you are feeding yourself and your family. In conclusion of this exploration, think about your next trip to the store. Will you look for the unit price? Will you choose the generic brand to save a few dollars? Will you remember to bring your reusable bags? Buying groceries is more than just a chore. It is a way we engage with our local economy, our environment, and our personal well-being. From the historical transition of the counter-service shop to the high-tech world of automated delivery, the way we get our food tells a fascinating story about how society operates. Whether you are navigating the aisles of a massive supermarket or browsing the stalls of a local farmer's market, every item you place in your basket is a choice that shapes your life. And that's all for today's episode of English Pass Podcast. I hope you found this helpful. Remember to practice what you've learned and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we improve. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and join us next time. Let me remind you that the sponsor of the episode is TypeFit, and I suggest to check the link at the description. I'm Samantha, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep learning and keep growing. Goodbye.